I'm going to have a go at the next Codility exercise. It's called MinAvgTwoSlice. It's in lesson 5, Prefix Sums. It's a respectable exercise, so I think it will be a little bit difficult, but let's have a look. So as usual, 120 minutes for one task. Let's get straight into it. Okay, a non-empty array A consisting of n integers is given. A pair of integers p and q such that 0 is less than or equal to p, which is less than q, which is less than n, is called a slice of array A. Notice that the slice contains at least two elements. The average of a slice PQ is the sum of A at P plus A at P1 all the way up to A at Q, divided by the length of the slice. To be precise, the average equals that divided by, so the sum of the elements in the array between P and Q divided by Q minus P plus 1. So it's the average of the values between P and Q. For example, array A such that the array equals this 4225158 contains the following example slices. Slice 1, 2, whose average, so slice 1, 2 is 2, 2. Average is 2 plus 2 over 2 equals 2. Slice 3, 4 is 5 plus 1 over 2 equals 3, so 6 over 2 equals 3. And slice 1, 4 is 2, 2, 5 and 1, which is 10, divided by 4 is 2.5. The goal is to find the starting position of a slice whose average is minimal. Write the function that, given a non-empty array A consists of n integers, returns the starting position of the slice with the minimal average. If there is more than one slice with a minimum average, you should return the smallest starting position. For example, given this, the function should return 1. So write an efficient algorithm for the following assumptions. N is an integer in the range of 2 to 100,000. So we have at least 2 entries in the array. It could be up to 100,000 entries. And each element of the array is an integer within the range of minus 10,000 and 10,000. I'm going to put this into a spreadsheet and investigate a bit. So what I'm figuring out here is that in any set of 4 or more numbers, we can calculate the average, but the set can be broken down into subsets, and the averages in one of those subsets must be lower or equal to the average in the longer set. It's therefore not necessary to consider sets that are longer than 3 in length, so we only need to worry about sets of 2 and 3. This doesn't quite apply to the set of 3 because 3 can't be broken down into 2 sets. Okay, so I'm going to do this in Eclipse. So the task is in Prefix Sums, and it's called MinAvgTwoSlice. Okay, so I've just prepared it there with the example in the solution in the exercise description. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop from 0 to a length minus 2. To begin with, I'm just going to look at sets of 2. For index equals 0, index is less than a.length minus 1 I plus plus, and value 1 equals a at I, value 2 equals a at I plus 1, sum of 2 equals val 1 val 2, and the minimum sum of this would be the average. So index of min of 2 equals minus 1, meaning we don't know what it is yet. And then I'll remember int min sum of 2 equals integer max value, because first time we get a value we want it to be less than what we've currently found. And then what we can say is if sum of 2 is less than min sum of 2, then min sum of 2 equals sum of 2, and index of min 2 equals I. So that should find the index of the, if we were only looking at sets of 2. We want to look at sets of 3 as well. So I just want to repeat all this and this, but I only want to do this if I is less than a.length minus 2. Because I don't want to do it for a set of 3 in the last iteration. So if I is less than a.length minus 2, I'm going to do all that for the set of 3. I'm going to debug through this to make sure it's working. No, I haven't been looking at average, I've just been looking at total, because at the end of it we can just divide it down. So we should have now the index of 3 and the index of 2. Now we may not have an index of 3. So the first thing I'm going to say is if index of 3 still equals minus 1, I'll return the index of 2. Otherwise, I'm going to divide the min sum of 2 by 2, because that will get us the average, and the min sum of 3 by 3. And if min sum of 2 is less than min sum of 3, return index of 2. Now if they're both the same, we've been asked to find, let me just check what it says. If there's more than one slice with a minimal average, you should return the smallest starting position of such a slice. Okay. So here I'm going to say if min sum of 3 is less than min sum of 2, return index of 3. But if they're both the same, I need to return the minimum index. So if we're still here in this method, we'll return the minimum index. I think that's a sort of corner case that could have tripped us up, but I think that that's it. But I'm going to debug through to be sure. So we initialize the sums to the integer max value and the indexes to -0. And then we're going to start off, our array starts with 4225158. So this would be 4 and 2. And the sum of them is 6. That is currently the minimum set of 2 we can find. So remember it and remember the index. Now the set of 3, I don't actually have to do that again. But the set of 3 would be 422, 422. The sum of 3 would be 8. That's going to be the minimum set of 3, so remember the index. Now the next set will be 22 here. That's going to be total of 4. The minimum sum of 2 so far is 6. We'll remember that and remember the index. Then for the set of 3 we'll have 225, 225. The total will be 9. And the minimum we had before is 8, so we won't remember that. Now I just need to make sure I've got it breaking out at the end properly, so I'm going to go. The next set will be 25 here. I'm just going to go through because I'm confident that that's working. Next set will be 51. The next set will be 15. And the next time will be 58. But now we're at the edge of this, so we don't want to do the set of 3. Yeah, that's right. So finally, I'll check these indexes. The minimum sum of 2 is 4, and that's at position 1. We know that that's right. The minimum sum of 3 is 8, and that's at position 0. And that is right. 4, 2, 2, 2, 5, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Also, it's important here that I didn't put less than or equal to, otherwise it would have updated the index to the next one. And we're supposed to give the first minimum index. So I think that's right. So finally, I'll just go through this logic. Minimum sum of 3 is 0. It is -1. So if we didn't find a minimum sum of 3, then return 2, the index of 2. Otherwise, divide 4 by 2, and that gets us 2. Divide through. This is another thing that's going to trip us up. Divide 8 by 3. This needs to be the average here. And this is an integer. So I've got a few things to fix. And I'm going to fix that and then run back to this point. One thing I don't need to do, and I'm sure I don't need to do that, is reassign val1 and val2 there. So double average of 2 equals sum of 2 divided by 2, and class to double, so we make sure that this is possibly a fraction. An average of 3 is a minimum of 3 divided by 3. And here we're doing these with the averages. So just to be clear, what I'm doing there is because they were integers, so it was rounding to the integer because I was dividing one integer by another. Whereas if we look at this case, so I'm just going to debug through again. I've got a problem here. And I almost made another mistake as well. Ah, no. I didn't need to replace those. Okay, so just debug through again. Get to this point. So this would have been okay. Minimum sum of 2 was 4. And the average of 2 is 2. But minimum sum of 3 is 8. 8 divided by 3, that was coming out as 2. Because it was rounding it down in an int, was 8 over 3 is 2.6 recurring. So now the average of 2 is less than the average of 3. So we return the index of 2. And the answer is 1. Okay, so I think that's right. But let's just have a look for some corner cases. So n is an integer within the range of 2 to 100,000. So we know we've got at least 2 values. So I suppose I should just quickly try it with 2 values. And I think the index we're going to want back is 0. There's no sets of 3 in there, and the only set is the first 2 values. Yeah, that works okay. What other corner cases might there be? The big O notation is going to be ON, because we're just going through the array once. Each element of the array is an integer within the range of minus 100,000 and 10,000. Negative values make no difference. But I'm just going to do a case with some negative values. So let's try 10, 11, minus 20, 5. I don't know. So the minimum value here is going to be minus 25. So we want the index to be 2. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I think I'm ready to submit that. I think that that's right. Let's just run it through and see if it's happy with that. So it's completed the example test. I think that that's everything. So let's submit it and see how I do. It's taken 28 minutes. And 100%. And of course, some of the extreme cases were checking for 100,000, large numbers in the range with 100,000 different values in the array. Because I think the thing to realize in this is that because we're just looking at the minimum, that any set of, we don't have to check beyond sets of 2 and 3, because a set of 4 is just 2 sets of 2. So that's my solution to minimum average 2 slice. So if you've got any other ideas, then leave them in the comments, and give the video a like and subscribe to my channel and all the rest of it. So thanks for watching.